Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a basic guide to doing forestry in Farming Simulator 25. Everything in this video does apply to all platforms and is using base game equipment only. There's no mods or anything like that in this video. There are also time codes below to help distinguish what different pieces of the forestry process that you might be looking for. So if you're looking for something specific, I would check down there and it might help you find it if you don't want to watch the whole video. And if I miss anything super important, I'll put it in the first pinned comment down below. What we'll cover in the following sections of the video, these are kind of the sections I'm going to divide the video up into. And also, by the way, I do talk a little fast, so if you have to, you can also slow the video down down below. But anyhow, the following sections that we're going to cover will be divided out down below in the time codes are number 1, planting trees and buying forest area to harvest, harvesting trees, loading and transporting trees, winches and yarders, wood chipping, removing stumps after harvesting, and what to do with trees and selling trees. So we're going to kind of cover all the way around and cover everything you need to know for forestry. So any aspect of forestry that you may be confused about or don't know about, this video will help clear that up. But let's go ahead and start with planting trees and buying a forest. So one thing you can do is I'm just going to go into the build mode here because it gives me a nice aerial view. If you had a nice forestry area, like this has some trees on it, if you wanted to cut these trees down or some of these trees or these ones, you can find a nice forestry plot. I know that this is one just over here, so it has quite a few trees on it. If you wanted to cut those down first, you have to see if you can buy it, because I know there's some trees here, but if I go into the map here, go to buying land, go over to here, where are we at? Here we go. I actually already own this chunk here, but I can't buy that chunk of land, so I can't cut trees there. You can't cut trees on land you don't own, but this one I could buy right here. So if I bought it, I already own it, but if I bought it, I cut all the trees down, and then once I get all the trees off of it, I can sell it back. So I can just sell the land back if I cut all the trees down. Now the trees won't replenish or anything. It's not like if you cut all those trees down and then you sell it back and you come back, 3 years later in game, there's like a bunch more trees in there. That's just what it is. Once you've cleared it, you've cleared it. But obviously you can plant more trees on it if you want to, then sell it and let those trees grow, then buy it back if you want to do that. But yeah, pretty straightforward. You're not going to lose any money on the land. You'll be able to sell it back as soon as you finish, or sell it back for the same price that you bought it for as soon as you're finished. Or you can also farm or do something else with it. So you can build a farm on it, put fields on it, landscape it, build things, factories, whatever you want to do. You don't have to necessarily sell it back. But planting trees can be done as well, and this can be done anywhere on the map where you own the land or any forestry plot that you've cleared and want to replant more trees. So it's pretty straightforward. There's 2 ways to do it in base game. We have kind of this here. This is the Damcon planter here, and then we have another kind of little planter that attaches to the excavator. I typically use this one because it's a little bit easier, but you can use this one as well. If you already have the excavator, it might save you a little bit of money if that's what you're going to do, because the excavator can kind of adjust and do different things and also do forestry harvesting, as we'll talk about here in a bit. So if we talk about these guys in the store, first off, this is all of our forestry equipment down here. Tons of stuff in here. So if we go to tree planters, we have 2 different options here. This one, if I hit combinations, it's just going to show me that you probably should have a front weight on your tractor, and it can plant either poplars or tree saplings. We're going to talk about poplars in a separate video because they kind of are more of a crop type thing. But we do have tree saplings, which we can go in here and we can scroll through and choose what type of trees we want to plant. And again, you get 20 trees. There's a ton of options. I would recommend I haven't done a test video to see which ones are going to be good for doing harvesting and stuff like that in terms of that, because some trees just flat out won't work for doing tree harvesting, but anything with pine in it in general should be pretty good to use. But lodgepole pine should for sure work. So we're gonna do some of that planting here and test a little bit of that. If I go over here to this guy, if I hit combinations, it's going to give me this little packet of tree saplings, which again, you can do the same thing. Has 240 pieces in it though, so that is the advantage to that. You're getting quite a lot more for you comparatively. But if we hop back out here, you can see the price difference, 7,000 to 1,000. This is definitely a better deal, but it is a little bit more expensive there. And you also have to own, if we go back to the tree planters here, this one you can just put on the back of a tractor. This one you have to actually own one of these 2 excavators to use it. And when using either of these excavators, you want it to be in the fast coupler configuration so it can attach that over. If you have it in the grapple, well, that's not going to help you out. You can always configure it. And if you have the harvester header, that's not going to help you out either. You need it in the fast coupler to be able to do the planting. But yes, now that we've talked about that, let's get in here and do some planting. I'm going to start the engine up. If we drive over to just any one of these pallets, you can see up in the upper right-hand corner, if I drive up to one and hit R, it's going to reload it. Boom. It's just going to pop that pallet in there. Easy peasy. Now, the AI worker will work to plant poplar. I haven't tried it for planting regular trees yet, so we'll try it when we get over to that field here in a second. This isn't a field we're on here, it's just a normal area, but if I wanted to plant trees here, it's pretty straightforward. I just have to lower this down. Oop, not the weight. I got to select the correct piece of equipment here. Up in the upper left-hand corner control group, if I hit G again, switches me over to the tractor, hit G, go to the back there, hit V to lower that down, and B to turn it on. You can see it already popped down our first tree. And then once it hits the appropriate distance between trees, it'll pop down another one. Trees won't grow if they are too close to each other, so make sure that they have enough space, which the planter will automatically space them out just about right. So there we go. We're getting these planted pretty straightforward. Pretty easy to do, nothing too crazy about that. I'll plant some more in a bit for us, but let's go ahead and test this over here. This is a field. Let's see if it'll let me. It'll obviously let me plant trees here, but if I hit hire AI worker, I'm actually going to turn that off. I want to see what it's going to do first. It does say it's going to work, so it looks like you could potentially do AI workers to plant full forest on a field if you had a pre-made field. So if you wanted to make a field where you want your trees and then you had them planted by an AI worker, that would probably work just fine. But anyhow, you've seen how this guy works. I'll plant some more trees because we're going to need some more for the rest of the demonstration, but I'll do that off camera here. Let's show you the next tree planter here before we continue. We hop in this guy right here, start the engine up. Again, it's all pretty straightforward. I can move the arms using my mouse controls, or if you're on console, you can use some of the different joysticks and stuff like that. But I just want to get this close to the ground, not all the way maybe touching. Makes it easier if you're close, but not on top of it. And if I wanted to plant trees here, all I got to do is hit X to plant tree. Boom. Planted a tree. X to plant another tree. You got to be careful because this will let you plant them pretty close together. But you don't want them quite that close together because they may not grow up all the way. That's one of the reasons I kind of prefer the other tree planter as well, is because it just kind of automatically spaces them and I don't have to worry about doing anything. But this is another way to do it, especially if you already have the excavator. Might be easier for you. So there you go. I'm going to go ahead and move on to harvesting here in a second, but I'm going to plant some more trees and give them some time to grow. One other quick note on the planting as well. If I'm planting along here and I'm like, you know what, I don't want to plant any more of this type of tree, I want to switch. You can unload it, hitting I, it'll place the pallet on the back there, or I can hit R to reload it, or I can go find a different type of tree and reload it. It also tells you what type of tree you have up in the upper left-hand corner at the very bottom. If you have the help menu off, it won't show you, but just turn the help menu on to see what it is. And I'm hitting F1 to toggle that on and off. Same thing with the tree planter on the excavator. You can unload it if you'd like to, and you can toggle the help menu on and off to see what tree you're planting. But just wanted to bring you guys back in just to show you that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and keep planting some trees, and I'll bring you back in. All right, before we get into harvesting here, I want to talk a couple more things about planting. So first off, these trees will take several years to grow. These ones took 2 years, these lodgepole pines right here. So these are perfect for doing forestry work. So I got rid of the other trees. These are perfect. You can do forestry with the other 2 pines I planted, but I think these are best. I didn't know which ones would be best, but after I planted them and they grew up, I realized these are the best ones. They also grew twice as fast, these ones did. So just beware, you're not going to see your first growth state until about, oh goodness, about just over a year into them trying to grow. So just beware of that. You also could go into build mode and plant your own trees if you wanted to. You can go down here. You could just place them down and have them pre-built. They're going to be more expensive, obviously, than getting them this way. You still could probably make a profit off of them, but it's not going to be really worth your time to do that. And you can plant other trees with the tree planter and in build mode that are not very forestry friendly, such as this one right here, which I will demonstrate that. But let's go ahead and get into some harvesting. So there are several types of harvesters. I have 4 right here. I'm going to demonstrate all of them for you just to give you that example. If you don't care about that, you can skip forward. If we go in the store and we scroll down to our forestry stuff down here at the very bottom, harvesters, we have the John Deere, which this one here can do logs up to 58 centimeters in diameter. Now, just note that if you have super big trees, you're going to need to use like this guy, 120 centimeters, and this one's somewhere in the middle at 70. So just be aware of that. Now, the excavators have 2 ways they can harvest trees. So both of them have a processor head, which this one is different. I'll show you how this one works. So this is going to work. The processor head, just to note, is going to work similar to this when you see this work. The other head, which is an excavator tool, this one, the wood cracker, is going to work similar to this piece of equipment, the John Deere. So I'm just going to note those differences now. I may actually not demonstrate too much on the excavator because they're the same as the other guys over here, but I want to note that there's just kind of 2 main differences here. There's this style of header here, which is just cut and grab, and then there's this guy here, which is the processor header. Now, the other way you can actually cut down trees as well is if I go into the store and scroll down to hand tools, I can buy myself a chainsaw. So if I purchase that, boom, that's great. Chainsaws are great. Hit 2 to open it up, and then you can walk around. Now, I'm moving very slow here with it out, but if I put it away, I can move faster. Chainsaws, the one benefit is if you have a tree like this that really can't be processed with a wood harvester, you can come up to it and you can cut this guy down just like that. So you can cut anything down. But if we go over to one of these other trees here, turn that chainsaw off, get rid of it. Oop, get out of my, there we go. So if I come up to one of these to just cut them down real quick, pretty easy, straightforward. Let's just say I want to cut this guy down right here. I can hold down the right mouse button to adjust how I'm cutting it, what angle, so you can cut it whatever angle you'd like to. You can't cut it if it's orange like that. It's not going to let you do anything. But you want it to be green. You want it to be preferably lower to the ground. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut that just right there, like that. You can see too with the trees when you come up to them, it'll tell you this one's 36.3 meters and what kind of tree it is. So now these other little bits of, you know, garbage on the side, you want to see that like kind of like little orange, if I can get it again. I'm having all sorts of issues. When you see orange, it will get rid of those little side guys right there. So that's what we're kind of looking for. We want to get rid of those. There we go. A little bit easier. If you kind of just spam click it as you go down, that sometimes works a little bit easier. This seems to be way more difficult though in Farming Simulator 25 than it was in 22 to get rid of, because you need to find that orange part to be able to actually get rid of. I still didn't get rid of that little guy at the bottom there. Yeah, this just seems not ideal. Sometimes going on top of the tree and crouching down, this is an easier way to kind of get rid of them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if I just walk up it like this, I'll probably end up getting rid of most of them just like that. So you can see most of them are cleared off. That's usually the easiest way to do it, but you can go up the side if you'd like to. So chainsaw is pretty straightforward, and then obviously you can come out here and you can cut it more if you'd like to make it easier for you to transport. I can cut them into different lengths and do that sort of stuff. Now you can't lift these lengths, they're too heavy. You can see the weight down there, 5.8 meters, 528 kilograms. But if I cut like a small piece off like this guy, and then I put my hand tools away, I can lift that up by hand without super strength on. So if they're small enough, you can move them yourself. But let's go over here to these guys. Let's get in the John Deere here. Now the John Deere can do up to 2 trees. I'm only going to do 1 because the trees we're working on are a little too heavy. But it can grab 2 trees this way at once. So I want to lower it down so I'm nice at the bottom. And then I want to come up to a tree. And it's just going to, once it gets close enough, it's just going to cut it and grab it. And now I can move this tree around. You can see even this one tree is a little heavy for this guy. Because it's quite a large tree. So just be aware of that. But what you can do is you can set this tree down somewhere that you drive. So you can pull it out and set it down. All I have to hit is V to let go. And it'll drop that tree, or both trees if you have 2 trees in there, off. So again, that's one style of the harvester headers. I can hit B to turn that back off. And again, it will do 2 trees at once. But it doesn't really like that. The second style harvester header, which is actually the same one the Hannibal has, so I probably won't demonstrate the Hannibal. The Hannibal has the same one. The Hannibal just does bigger trees, and then again, that one has a processor header on it right now. So if I hit B to turn this guy on, if I come up to whatever tree I want to cut down, so let's say it's this guy over here, and I'm much more comfortable using this style of harvester, you'll get that kind of little ring there. If I hold O down, it'll automatically line it up for me to cut and get a green icon like that, and I can cut it that way, and then I can hit X to cut it. Then what I recommend from here is just kind of popping it up, backing up a little bit, and then you can usually try it. That one went right in between those 2 trees, which is literally the worst possible spot it could have gone, but I still think I can save it a little bit. There we go. And let's say I wanted to make a pile here. Now one thing you can do with this guy, because it's a little bit different, is what I can do is I can hit cut, and it'll cut off. It's going to trim all those trees off and then cut lengths for me. Now I can change that length by hitting Y. I have it at 5 meters right now. I can see in the upper left hand corner. Change it to 6, 8, 9, 12, 15, 20, and then max is just the whole tree. It'll just trim the whole tree off for you. And then I can go down to 2.5, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to keep doing 5 though. So that one's right there. I'm going to try to get these in a nice neat stack. I have done quite a bit of forestry with this style of equipment here. So if I do this, you should be able to get these little 5-meter chunks in a decent stack. I probably actually didn't need to move forward. But yeah, you can just keep stacking them just like that. And then you can grab more trees and do it the same way. It's pretty straightforward. And you're able to usually get pretty neat stacks of trees over here just by using this type of header here. Now, if you don't want to do the automatic, you can line it up yourself. That's totally fine. You also can do it from in-cab, or you can do it out here with the harvester header as well, which is quite neat and makes it easier to line up. Now, if you go to a tree that you can't process, like this guy right here, it'll have a little red line like that, and there's no way you're going to be able to cut it. It'll also give you a warning message if the tree is too wide, because if you think back to our diameters down here, if you get a tree that's too wide, it'll let you know about that as well. But there we go. That is tree harvesting 101. Pretty easy, straightforward to do. Now we need to move on to loading and transporting trees, which there's a ton of different ways to do it. I can't demonstrate all. I'll demonstrate my favorite way, and I will talk about the other way. So here's a couple different pieces of equipment to move stuff around. If I go into the store, forwarders are a great way to move it if you want to. I don't usually recommend them, but you can do that. This guy has a little crane on it. You can lift stuff up and load the logs on the back or drag them out. That's great. This guy just kind of grabs a big log and then drags it out for you. This guy right here loads smaller pieces of log using this crane onto the back of it here. This one, same way as that previous one, loads it onto the back there. So that is an option there. You can also use like an excavator with this grapple to move stuff around. We have some miscellaneous things down here. This guy, again, we've talked about this. This guy has a little crane on the front. You can move it around. This guy, you can grab loads of logs that way and move them around. This guy is another thing that was added to the game that allows you to grab large loads of logs and moves them around. So you can use those if you'd like to. You do need something to load them onto, so I'm just going to go ahead and let's just buy this guy real quick. We'll use him in a second. You can load them onto any of these trailers. Some of these trailers, like this guy, has a crane to it. This guy also has a crane to it. And you can store your chainsaw actually on this guy on the side too, which is pretty cool. And this guy also does, again, the one we just bought has a crane on the back. And then we have log trailers like this guy and this guy that don't have anything on the back. This is pulled with a semi, and you can load logs up the way that I like to load them, which I'll show you here in a second. So we'll talk about yarders and winches here in a second because that also helps move stuff around. But the other way you can do it, which is the way I kind of prefer to do it, is you can use any one of the following up here. You can use a front loader, a skid steer, a telehandler, or a wheel loader with their specific log fork. So here we have a log fork here, works great. You can use that. You also can use like these types of things those also will grab logs pretty well. So you have a few different options there. You also can use like a tractor if you had this guy with the front loader attachment. You can buy the front loader tool for it, and then you can get like, well, you can get that's a fork with grapple. Where's the log fork? There's the log fork. Then you get the log fork and move them around that way. So I prefer doing it this way. I think it's just easiest for me. So that's the way I'm going to demonstrate for you. So I'm going to use this guy. I haven't used a wheel loader or this log fork in a long time, so we'll see how this goes. Get them a little rusty, but once you get used to it, it makes it pretty easy to move logs around and load them up. You also can load them up by grabbing them by hand if they're light enough, but often they're not going to be light enough for you. I might be able to get most of these guys up here, but yeah, you just got to get used to the controls, I think. And I should be able to grab some of these. Nope, I only got two. I told you I'm a little rusty, but you can grab them, lift those up, get that nice and squeezed down so that way they don't get out. And then if I go ahead and hop out of here, let's get into our truck. I'm just going to drive it over there and we can load it onto the truck. And again, you can use the crane on the back. I hate using the cranes on these things. They just don't work for me very well. I'm not very good at them. But if you get the experience and get the skills to do them, it might be easier. On console, it's probably much easier. I'm using keyboard and mouse to run these. That's probably the hardest way to do it, is with keyboard and mouse. So everything you're seeing here is absolutely the hardest way to do it. And this is actually a little high of a truck, but if I can throw that one on, the one's going to probably fall off here. Let's see if I can get them in there. Come on now. There we go. Get at least one of them in there and make me feel good about myself. Come on. There we go. Drop them in there. Got kind of both of them in there, but yep, I would recommend just doing a little better. That's also not the best. It's got the crane on the back, so it makes it a little bit tricky to load stuff. Some of the other log trailers are a little bit easier, but you get the idea. That's how you can load stuff up if you want to do that. All right, now that we got transporting down, we need to talk about winches and yarders, which are kind of there to help you move trees around and do that sort of thing. So we'll talk about those. I did decide to reload the game save in here, so we have some fresh setups over here, but I'll show you what we got going on. So the winch, pretty straightforward. It's going to drag trees that are on the ground. Then the yarders are going to help you move trees using other trees, and I'll kind of demonstrate what that means. These are going to be found in the store. If we go all the way down here to forestry, they're all under where we at, winches and yarders. So there you go. This is again going to help you drag trees out. Hooks up a cable to them. You can drag them out of the ground, or drag them not out of the ground, but you can drag them off if they're already on the ground. These guys are going to help you transport trees around. So this yarder can be used for uphill yarding. This one can be used for uphill and downhill yarding. So you can't hook this up to something that is uphill from you. This one, you can hook it up to something that's uphill from you and also downhill from you. So I'll show you what that means in a second. Basically, if I hop in this guy right here, start this guy up. Let's say I want to hook up a yarder between some of this stuff over here. Pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and fold it out. I'll leave that guy right there running. Once it's unfolded, you go up to it, hit, when you get the right icon there, hit R to set up yarder, and you get a little string. And we're going to move it over to just one of these trees. This is not to drag the tree up the hill. This is to set the yarder up. So once I get to a tree, let's say we want to set it up, we'll do it up there. That's fine. Perfect. Now we've set the cable up. Now if you go up to it, you can see we have some kind of controls. It says move carriage. So I can move the carriage towards us. You can see it on that symbol there. I can M, or I can hit R to enable carriage follow mode, and it'll just follow me around wherever I'm at. And it shows where I'm at on the... So it'll come up to where I'm at. And then if I want to, I'll move, it'll follow me. So pretty straightforward. Now, the purpose of this, so uphill and downhill, this is just flat right here. If it's uphill, that means the tree you're hooking up to is uphill from you. And if it's downhill, that means the tree you're hooking up to is downhill from you. So that's the differences there. If I get a chainsaw out here now and I cut this guy, just cut this guy down right here. So we can get a tree on the ground. So I can demonstrate using this a little bit better. I'd say I want to cut, I don't know, we'll just cut this piece off right here. I don't want it to be too terribly long. It'll make it a little bit more difficult. Grab that. Perfect. Okay. Put my chainsaw away. Fantastic. So the yarder itself, go over to here. I should be able to hook up to a tree by hitting B. So you can see that. Look at a tree because I'm connected to that yarder. Now if I go too far away, it's not going to do it for me, but right now it's working fine. So I don't just left click, it's not going to do anything. I need to hit B as the key. And then from there, now I have some new stuff over there for controls, J and N to lift and lower trees. So I can lift that tree up just like that, which is great. I'll swing around a little bit, be careful. And then I can disable the follow mode, and let's say I just want to get this down to me and my buddy or to where I'm unloading trees. And now I can transport that all the way across. But pretty straightforward. They're pretty cool. The yarders are pretty cool. So yeah, there you go. That's how I use winches and yarders. I'm going to put a quick cut in here so I can set some stuff up. We are going to talk about wood chipping trees and removing stumps, and then what to do with trees in terms of selling and what their uses are. All right, time to talk about wood chippers. There are two in the base game. We go into the menu here. We go down to forestry. Where are we at? Here we are. We have wood chippers. So we have this guy, which is self-propelled, and then we have this guy, which is the pull behind. So you can buy either one of them. This one's just very expensive. This one, you need to have a tractor or something to pull it around. And then the only other thing you need, well, you have to have a tractor to run this one. This one is fine. You may need something to move logs into them if you're going to put heavier logs in there. This one does have a crane built onto it to help you out with that. This one I don't believe does. Yeah, no crane on this one. So this one you got to do it all by hand. And then the other thing you'll need is like a trailer to put wood chips in. So any bulk trailer will do. So we have the trailer over there, and we'll just use each one of these. We'll start off with this guy. So I just need to hit X to unfold that guy, and then hit O to put the pipe out. And now if I go ahead and get into this guy, I need to get this over by where that pipe's going to be. I need the trailer to be over there. Now the pipe will automatically track to a trailer when it gets close enough. So you can see the pipe's already tracking over to my trailer, and we're good to go there. All right. So next things first, or next things next here, I need to get in here, turn this on. And then once that's running, all good to go. Just need to place logs in there. So I got a couple pieces of junk logs. Wood chipping is perfect for trees like this that are just trash, that just don't have any odd shapes, but you can wood chip anything to sell the wood chips, which we'll get into later. So if I set that on there, again, I do have super strength enabled right now, but the logs I'm lifting do not require super strength. And you can see it wood chips it, and now in this trailer we have 1,400 liters of wood chips. That's more than I thought we'd get off that little piece. But yeah, pretty straightforward. So that's how this one works. Hit B to turn that off so it's not loud for us. Now if we get into this guy right here, it's pretty much the same concept. Oop, I need to start the engine. I can unfold it. If I unfold it, it's not going to let me move because it has the little supports down, so just be aware of that. And it has that up. I can hit O to put the pipe out again. Get this guy over closer to the pipe. There, it's tracking the pipe. That's perfect. And then all I need to do is, again, get into it, hit B to turn it on. And I can move this around if I want to. I'm going to move it out of the way because I'm just going to do it by hand. It's just easier for me. But then I can start throwing pieces of wood in there, one after the other. Oops, grab it. Oop, that one didn't get quite in there. That happens, just readjust it. There it goes. It's getting wood chipped. Throw that in there as well. But pretty easy to do. Just got to grab them, throw them in there, do your thing. No big deal. So there you go. And we should have quite a bit more wood chips now. Oops, nope, got into the wrong thing. Come on now. Give me the right tractor. There we go. 4,100 liters of wood chips. So there you go. Now another thing to talk about is removing the stumps. I'm gonna get in this guy because this guy's pretty loud. There we go. Is removing the stumps. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can either do a stump cutter or a mulcher. We go into the menu here. We scroll down to our forestry equipment again. Mulchers, these both will work. This one hooks up to the excavator using that quick coupler. So if I hit combinations, it'll hook up to one of these guys with that fast coupler configuration. So that's kind of an easy way to do it. I'm going to show off this one because that one just hooks up to a tractor. Then we also have the stump cutter, which also hooks up to a 3-point link. So if I have a stump right there, get in this guy. I can control this guy, move it around using the mouse controls or the controller controls if you're on like PlayStation or Xbox. Hit B to turn it on. Just got to get it over that and then just slowly cut down through it. I can put it out a little bit more, tilt it a little bit, but should be gone now. Yep, it's gone. You want to have the ability to do this, but you can see how deep the stumps are. This is part of the development controls, but I'm just to prove the point that they're not there anymore. That's all. The only reason I'm doing that. But get rid of this guy as well. There we go. It's gone. So easy peasy. Nothing too complicated there. The mulcher works basically the same way, just has a little bit higher area. The other nice thing about, and both of these will work for what I'm about to show you too. You can take the mulcher and the stump grinder, and you can come up to like pieces of just junk tree. And you can, oops, I lowered my weight down. Let me get to the front there. There we go. If I lower this down. This guy will also create a field, the mulcher, that is. Ooh, I may not be able to move this guy. This might be too heavy for my tractor. But yeah, you can kind of destroy any piece of a tree if you get it in the right spot. So if I come over here, this will definitely do a little bit of work here. So if I want to get rid of that, get rid of some of that parts of the tree there, slowly mulching those off. Or you can use it to, again, get rid of stumps. So it's not really an effective way to get rid of trees, but it is. Again, you can see I just got rid of a bunch of that pieces there. I probably needed a much larger tractor to run this, so it's a little bit slow, a little bit finicky, but I also can come over here and get rid of this stump. Possibly. Actually, I might not be able to get up high enough to get that with this tractor. If I just cheat a little bit, get it up there. Set it up there, you can see it will delete parts of the stump once I get it over there. Let me get over here. Use a bigger tractor. I used a medium one. You'll probably need a large tractor to run this thing. The stump cutter's a lot easier to do in terms of that too, because you don't have to worry about using like a big massive piece of equipment. But yep, this one's just struggling to run it. But yep, it will do the trick if you want to. So there you go. You can use the mulcher or the stump cutter however you want to delete trees and get rid of them like that. Pretty straightforward. Now, what do you do with the trees? What can you possibly do with them? Well, you can sell them. That's one thing. You can sell the wood chips and the trees. I should have a driver. Yep, he made it over here. So if I have some wood chips here, you can go into your prices menu and you can find wood chips down at the bottom. You can find somewhere that will take them, which the animal dealer will take them right there. That's the price per 1,000 liters, by the way, as well. And I just got to drive over that sell point, which I don't know if it'll be this one or not, actually. Yep, once I drive over the sell point that'll take them, I can hit I to unload. And I can sell them off, and you can see our money's going up in the upper right-hand corner. You don't get a ton of money from wood chips, but it is an option for you. You also can sell them off as whole logs, which is the best way, I think, to do it. And I can do that here at the lumber mill. So, and you should be able to see that on here as well. Wood, yep, you'll see what's going to take it. Carpentry point will take it. Sawmill will take them as well. So you have that for you. Now, you also can buy the sawmill, and then you can produce stuff out of the wood as well. I'll go over productions in a different video, but that's how you can do it as well. So anywhere where you can sell wood, it's not like a normal sell point where you drive over the trigger and it automatically sells them. You need to get into the trigger, then there'll be this icon right here, which if I come up to the icon, it'll say R to sell wood. If I hit R to sell wood, it sold that one log for 2,300 bucks. So you can sell wood that way as well, and that's kind of what you do with it. But yeah, there you guys go. That is just kind of a basic overview of everything you need to know when it comes to forestry. Very quick and dirty way to do it there. But there you guys go. Hopefully that was helpful or informative in some way. If it was, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel and turn your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.